Welcome to the DevReady podcast. Joining me on the DevReady podcast today, I have Gavin Redrop. Gavin has been on before, so I actually know something about him. But for those of you that are listening, I'll let Gavin take it away and explain who he is, what he does, and we're just going to have a general chat about AI and his journey since the last time we spoke to him a couple of years ago.
Yeah, it's been a little while, Anthony. It's great to be back on the show. As you said, my name's Gavin Redrop. I'm an AI entrepreneur, founder, startup, kind of into everything AI and tech. So, at the moment, I'm working on building out a community sort of platform for business owners to be able to understand AI and implement it into their business. I find that a lot of businesses at the moment are seeing AI, hearing about it and that kind of stuff, but really not sure about how to go about those steps of implementing it successfully into their business. So that's sort of what I'm working on at the moment. I've also got a crypto project called AirTalk AI, which is a community engagement platform using artificial intelligence to generate images as well as community discussion and those kind of things in Telegram, and building out a AI image generator for people to use, primarily for businesses or CEOs, executives, those kind of things who want to generate images of themselves, but don't want to have to pay for photographers and go to the effort of booking studios and those kind of things. So lots going on as always, but great to be back on the show and looking forward to discussing all things AI with you.
There's quite a few things there. I'll probably start on the last thing you mentioned, so the AI generator. What sort of made you do that? And then did the GPT 4.0 release, what was it, 6 weeks ago now, have an impact on what you're doing?
Yeah, I think last time we spoke, I built something and then GPT released an update, and a couple of days later and had an impact. But no, this time pretty lucky that, well, not so much lucky, but it's fairly different in the sense that we're using the back end is primarily around building out your own sort of image generator that you can use yourself. So it's called a LoRa, custom trained LoRa, which is a way of training the AI model to recognize and understand your face and use that throughout the image generation. So whilst GPT, you can upload an image of yourself and a style that you want, and have it mesh those together. Sometimes it doesn't really look like you, whereas by training a custom LoRa, you get that real high quality likeness and that human likeness that really looks like you. So that's probably where the biggest difference is. And I think the updates with GPT are incredible, from being able to do product images and those kind of things. I think that's amazing how quick and easy that is now, where you can just chuck in a product and a couple of other things, and all of a sudden you've got some marketing material for your product. But this one's really around your own likeness and building out that sort of style so that you can quickly and easily create images for yourself. Like, my brother was at the footy the other week and I got it to generate an image of me at the footy, pretended I was there, and said, "Oh, where are you? I'm over here," and had him fooled for a bit. So there's a lot of use cases, from socials to mucking around. And one of the guys I was talking to said it's almost could replace emojis in a lot of ways, where you're texting back and forth, and instead of sending an emoji style image, you send back an image of yourself doing something.
That's interesting use of it. So I've experienced that problem where the faces don't match. So anytime I upload a picture of myself and ask it to do, so we did a photo shoot. I'm like, all right, make my t-shirt in some different colors. Just expand because I didn't have enough t-shirts on me. So I'm like, all right, let's just get some extra photos from the photo shoot. And every time it came back, it was not right. I even posted about it. And it was like a dodgy version of me. Like, it wasn't right. And every time it'd just be a bit different. So having, that consistency is very important. Like I said, on the products, I think it does well.
Yeah.
And if you do like the Ghibli style or anything else, it's very consistent. But as soon as you start going to real features, it's not right.
Yeah. We don't need the Temu version of Anthony.
No, definitely not.
But I'll have to get you to try it out and test it. We're still
go.
in early beta phase at the moment, and I think it'll be really good. I was saying, especially when you're doing stuff online, trying to find photos or come up with content and those kind of things, it's just a real hassle, and you just don't want to go out and set up an entire shoot just for a couple of images. So it's a great way to do it, especially with the scroll economy the way it is. And, people are just scrolling past things so quickly that grabbing that attention, spending money and time and effort into generating or creating imagery and stuff like that for somebody to scroll past, and 3 seconds later they're not looking at it anymore. Yep. So yeah, it's a good way to do it.
So on the crypto project, that's a crypto and AI. So what's it's each like, is it growing a token and just trying to get off the boom, or are you building some sort of like actual use to the platform you're building there?
Yeah, so it's a utility token, but we've this is actually sort of where the image generator idea came from. So we started out with a chatbot style interface that would go into Telegram, and you can train it on all of your project knowledge for crypto projects. So obviously Telegram and those kind of things are a great way, or the central place for communities to connect and engage. And as a developer and a crypto project lead, it's pretty much impossible to keep up with those kind of things 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. So the idea was around a pre-trained chatbot, basically, with all of your knowledge of your project that the community can access. And then we expanded out into meme generation. So it was creating the meme images for meme projects and those kind of things, which is the technology that sits behind the image generator. So yeah, we've had a bit of a bumpy road on the old crypto project. We launched September last year, and in December, our locked liquidity that was locked on Gempad actually got hacked just before Christmas.
Oh, no.
So we lost all of our liquidity there, had to rebuild, relaunch. So we relaunched in March or April.
Great time after Trump came in and
just tanked it was pretty much around that time. So yeah, we relaunched. Good start. It took off quite well for the first probably week, and then the markets just started going downhill for the last 6 weeks or so. So yeah, we've just been riding that wave. So waiting for things to turn around there. But I think overall, it's the actual technology is really good, and a lot of use cases there. I think we're at over 400 projects using it. So that's it's starting to build momentum, which is great.
Oh, it's good to hear. So I think last time we had you on, I can't remember if it was pre or post ChatGPT. So I think it was just after. So it was very early in 23. Yeah. So what sort of led you to the point where you say you start rolling out, like helping businesses bring AI into their business? Like, what have you seen along that period and experiences with business to say, all right, this is something I needed to dive into more? Everyone knows that AI is going to be everywhere, and a lot of people are using it, but there's a lot of people that still don't know or don't use it. They know about it, but they're not using it.
Yeah, exactly. I think, last time we spoke, I just launched the book, which was around helping small businesses and with AI. And I think, one of my mottos is everything before now was business as usual, and everything's changed. Everything's flipped. The entire way in which people run their business and think about businesses completely changed over the last sort of 2 years. And I think the speed at which that change is happening is so fast that a lot of business owners see all these things on social. They see AI, they see automations and all these kind of ways to use AI, but they don't really understand how to go about implementing that into their business in a way that's going to actually impact revenue, or in a way that will actually benefit them time saving wise and those kind of things. So yeah, it's all well and good to have all of these tools at your disposal, but being able to actually understand the way in which you implement it into the business, I think, is the missing gap. So that's where I'm sort of trying to focus on. And there's a lot of business owners who have heard about it, may have touched on GPT here and there, or asked a couple of questions and treated it like Google, and they sort of go, oh, it's okay, but I don't really see the benefit type thing, and they don't fully understand everything that's involved with AI and what's available to them. So I think that's where I'm trying to focus, is trying to help them gain a better understanding of use cases, understand how they can implement into their business without trying to overwhelm them with so much tech and all that kind of thing. So basically just removing the tech layer from them as far as understanding, and going through those processes, building out strategies and those kind of things for them.
Have you seen a lot of like discussions around moving beyond the chatbot? Everything's if you're in keeping up with everything, everything's about agents. But what have you seen with businesses that you're working with? Because they're not going to be at the cutting edge. They just want to get started.
Yeah. So I think there's a big gap between the types of businesses that are using AI. There's the ones that are all in and fully automating as much as they can, and they've almost got it to a point where they don't even understand what's happening in the business because the AI is doing most of it.
Yeah.
And then you've got the other end of the extreme where they might use ChatGPT for a reviewing of a legal document or something like that, contract. So I'm basically trying to find a way or build out a way to help those who are just starting out, who heard about it, kind of understand what it is or what's available, but really don't have that comprehension of end to end how to implement and what they can sort of build out. So I think that's where the main focus is. A lot of older people, my age and above or our age and above, are basically using ChatGPT like Google and typing in a couple of questions here and there, and they're not really taking full advantage and linking those systems into their other systems. And I think I was talking to one of my friends who's a HR manager, and I said that there's never been a more tight-knit connection between HR and IT at the moment. Like we're basically leading into this world where the IT team or the IT department are going to be managing these AI agents like employees and building out these systems, and they're going to have to review them, do performance reviews, make sure that they're up to scratch and doing what they need to be doing and those kind of things. So there's a big shift there in the way in which business operates and runs. I think that's probably where that biggest gap is that understanding of going from day in, day out processes through to automating some of those processes in a way that's efficient, time efficient, cost efficient, and profitable.
Yeah, and understanding how your business needs to evolve to fit them in. Because I know most businesses, I've said it many times, there's two ways you can take the AI. It's you can do the same amount of work with less people, or you can have the same amount of people and do more work. So depending on which way, do you want to cut costs or do you want to provide more value? Yeah. And the ones that I think, I believe the ones that are going to provide more value are the ones that are going to be able to leap ahead of their competition, be able to do more for the same money. Otherwise, it just becomes like a race to the bottom dollar. Who's got the cheapest product?
Yeah.
And then there's no loyalty. There's nothing you're getting from anyone. There's just interchangeable.
Exactly.
I don't think businesses are going to go down that route because people still want to work with people as well.
Yeah.
And if you're going down that path, you're not going to be like favoring the relationships and connections with people as much, clearly.
100%. Yeah. I think the ones who get it right will be the ones who understand that and use AI to enhance their service deliverability rather than replacing humans to replace it for the sake of replacing it, sort of thing. And I think there's a really big understanding issue where just because AI can do something doesn't mean it should do something. So you can automate your emails, but should you? Or you can automate your text message replies, but should you? I think that's where that understanding comes in, and really knowing which parts to automate well and which parts to push into the AI space, and then which parts to keep as human centric, so that people do have that human interaction and that connection, and they feel like they're getting that warmth and that realism and that kind of I guess that human touch that we're sort of probably going to find more and more so is the difference between what makes a company great and not.
Yeah, it's going to be more and more important that that's around, because effectively, even like in retail, that's getting done. Like everyone's shopping online, but you go to the retail store just to see the product potentially.
Yeah.
But then if the person in the store is not helping you, you've lost that connection anyway, so it doesn't matter.
Yeah,
you need to have that relationship and be able to work with people. But I think like we touched upon there saying that not everything needs to have AI. I think that's a lot of the problems that I'm seeing with like the agent side.
Yeah.
Everything is now an agent when it doesn't need to be.
Yeah.
And people aren't considering the cost of running an agent to do a very prescriptive task that is step by step. But all you're doing is just not giving it the steps and letting it figuring it out every time differently.
I think it's almost just lazy programming in a way, isn't it?
Oh,
It's
definitely.
like I can't be bothered programming this properly, so I'll just get an agent to do it for me.
And the biggest example I've seen of that is if you look at on NAN or Zapier or Gumloop or Make or whatever, people are showing you all these different agents that can do things.
Yeah.
And if you look at their marketplaces of predefined agents, a lot of them are, all right, you're an agent and you've got one tool available to you, so do this every time something comes in.
Yeah, don't need an agent
doesn't
for
need
one
an
tool.
agent. Yeah, that's not an agent.
Yeah.
It's just you're using the wrong tool for the sake of using it now because that's what everyone's talking about.
Yeah.
But if you really understood how they work, I've struggled in our business to find more than 3 or 4 actual use cases where I will use an agent.
Yeah.
Because everything we need to do is very step by step. It's process driven.
Yeah.
So there's not something where I need something that doesn't know how to operate to figure it out for me.
Yeah, exactly. And I think if a business has those processes in place already and has mastered the way in which they operate, then automating those processes makes sense and it becomes so much easier. Whereas if you're lost and don't have those processes, throw an agent at it and hope for the best. It's not really going to stick well and not going to last long.
Oh,
long
definitely
term.
not. Look,
I think the ones that get me are the ones that you see with the screenshot on LinkedIn, and if you zoom in, they've got all the errors still on the thing. They've just laid it out.
I haven't noticed those the errors, but those are ridiculous. And they've got an AI running or some automation running. So it's like, all right, leave the comment banana and you'll get, we'll send you the automation. I've left so many comments. I've never received one thing yet.
No, I'm the same.
None of those work. Like,
it's
strange. They're just trying to show off, like, I don't know why you need an agent. Like, there's a lot of YouTube videos, people setting up the Jarvis, like off Iron Man. And here's the one agent that does everything. But then you have to tell it to Telegram to say, all right, reschedule a meeting for me. Then it's going to go and figure it out and spend $3 in tokens to try and figure out how to reschedule a meeting.
Yeah, exactly.
When you could have just made a very simple process-driven task to do that.
Yeah, I think it's going to become that jack of all trades, master of none type mentality for agents. It's they can do everything but nothing, or they can do everything but nothing right.
It's going to be an interesting development to see because whoever cracks that and gets the agents that can follow and be fairly consistent. The consistency is the key. That's with everything.
100%,
so if you can't get the consistency right based on the parameters and what's coming in, and you're very poor in your prompting when you're telling the agent to do, because it effectively all comes down to prompting at the end.
Exactly.
So unless you get that right, it's not going to be consistent, and you're going to have wildly varying outputs. I was listening to some podcast last week on YouTube, and they were saying, all right, if the agent is wrong 25% of the time, you can run it a lot more times to get the correct output.
Yeah.
But then you've still got that error rate. So can you live with having that error rate if it goes out and undetected?
Yeah.
Because normally you've got people and you've got gateways, you've got processes in place to stop that.
Yeah, you need that human in the middle, I suppose, to manage that. But the thing I've found in using a lot of these agents and some of these vibe coding apps and stuff like that is it's very much a drift mentality. So as you start, it might just be off a little bit, 5% here and there, and it could be slightly wrong once or twice. But then as you continue that conversation and continue pushing and building something, the further off track it gets, and it just drifts. It's kind of like a GPS. You're going in a straight line, and then the GPS starts to go off by a couple of degrees over a few hundred kilometers. That shift happens.
Adds up.
It becomes a big difference.
And then those vibe coding tools, they don't have enough context about what you're trying to build long term. They've just got your current code base, your prompting. Yeah. And then all the tools are telling you to clear out the chat and start a new one after a certain amount of time because the context gets full.
Yeah.
So you have a lot of trouble then fixing things that maybe you write something on Monday and today's Tuesday, but you've already reset the context 3 times. So it doesn't know about what it did to get to that. It just knows that there's code that's written this way.
Yeah.
So then now you drift again. And then, like you said, over time, over weeks, you may have code that has so many holes or so much extra code that's not necessary as well.
I think, I found myself when you're using some of these programs and that, you start to drift yourself. You spend too much time focusing on fixing the last error. You forget what you're actually trying to fix in the first place. And it just becomes break fix mentality. It's almost like
it's a whack-a-mole.
A coding intern that you just got to sit with and constantly realign them and get them back on track. And
it's like the whack-a-mole. One bug pops up, so you smash that one, and another one comes up because now that thing's undone something that it wasn't meant to touch.
Yeah,
you're somewhat technical, and you've probably programmed a little bit.
Yeah.
What's your experience with that issue of like trying to tell it, don't touch anything else, just do this thing or fix this bug only? Like, are you using prompts like that because you're not getting the results that you want?
All the time. I think one of the I spent it was hours one night just going around in circles. Like even something simple like change the button to green, and then it comes back and it's purple, and it's like, what are you doing? And then I got in a loop one night when I was first trying one of these vibe coding apps, and I spent probably 3 hours, and it got to a point where I was kind of so committed to the process of just not wanting to ship. Like I could have just jumped into the code myself and changed it and fixed it, type thing. But I spent hours and however much money chasing this path of trying to fix things and going down that path. And I think for building out really quick and easy, simple utility things, great idea, great system, great model. For building out an actual full-blown app, it's not quite there yet. And I say not yet because you look at where we've come in 2 years, the difference between asking ChatGPT to review some code and try and fix it, and then you'd spend 20 or 30 different prompts going back and forth trying to fix the code, the fixed code that was also broken. Whereas now, with the agent models and all that kind of thing where it self-analyzes and those kind of things, it has improved, but it's still not quite there yet. But I mean, 6 months, 12 months time, who knows? It could be to a point where it's just one prompt and off you go. You get perfectly exactly what you want.
I don't think the one-shot prompts are the way to go, just from having building software for 17 years.
Yeah.
And that's great for a demo and like a benchmark test, but it's not going to get you software that's ready to go and battle tested and ready for on the market. Like I mentioned, 17 years I've been programming. And I'm using these tools because I want to understand how they work. I need to use them. I need to see what's going to give us the best benefit for our team. Yeah. So I'm testing these on the couch at night coding. And I had a similar issue to you. One night I spent, I think it was $8 in token cost to try and solve a bug. I wanted to test how good it can do it and how much I can prompt it.
Yeah.
I gave up after that $8 because that's a lot of tokens if you know like the costing models of these things.
Yeah, it's insane.
I was probably there for an hour and a half trying to get it to do. I knew what the problem was. I fixed it myself in like 4 minutes.
Yeah.
I was able to go in the code. I knew what the problem is and fix it, but it just could not do it. Yeah. So I know that now that kind of limitation is there, and that's going to affect the team.
Yeah.
But the difference 100%. Is I know what I'm doing. I've been programming. I've been like, my brain works in a programmer's way. So I can solve these issues. But if you're somewhat technical, but if you're non-technical at all and you're trying to dive into this, you're going to be stuck in those loops. Like you said, you're going to be deviating and drifting. You're not going to get what you want.
Yeah. I think the other aspect of that is the security side of it. Like I had one where I wanted to build out a connection, and I said, put the API key in the secrets thing and all that sort of stuff. Yep. And then it hard coded the API key into the script, and it was sending it in plain text on the HTML. And I was like, this is not ideal, and for mucking around like we do, we know and understand enough to go, okay, well, we can see what's going on to be able to fix that later. And we're just testing and playing around. But like you said, when you're building an actual app for a business that runs something of importance of some sort, those little entryways into, API keys or whatever that leak into being able to access the computer and then access something else and something else. And before you know it, there's going to be a lot of security implications, I think, and cybersecurity issues that come out of these apps.
I think one of the best tweets, I think it was, or X, I don't know what you call it, a tweet now.
Yeah.
I don't know if anyone
tweets too.
Yeah, I don't know if anyone knows what they're called. I don't know you to call it a post or an X. And then I saw it on LinkedIn was some guy was commenting, oh, this is amazing. I don't know anything about coding and I've built an app. And then like 4 days later, his next post was, I'm not talking about this publicly anymore because all my API keys have been exposed. And the community is costing me money now because everyone's just using all these services.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's a perfect example.
A relatively innocent impact of it, but it could be much worse. And I mean, you lose a few dollars on your API keys and have to go in and cancel them all. It's one thing, but losing thousands or tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands as a business owner, it's incredible. So
you're putting a business at risk. You're opening up doors. There's personal information that might go out,
all that sort of
IP,
stuff.
credit card details. Like people don't know that you need PKI DSCS compliance if you're going to store credit card details.
Yeah, exactly.
That's why you use these payment gateways. But now everyone can just build an app that processes a credit card.
yeah. I need this process, and the AI's built it in about 4 seconds flat, and you go, okay, this doesn't seem right.
It's very interesting. Like you said, I think disposable apps, something utility, I use it all the time. I get scripts done because I don't want to have to sit there for an hour or 2 hours to write something that's I need to run once for 3 seconds to do something. Quickly do it. But then I am trying to build a full, proper grade commercial app with what I'm doing. And I'm progressing well, but there's still a lot that it doesn't know how to do because a lot of stuff that the APIs that I'm using are not public. There's a lot of information that it doesn't know how to access.
Yeah.
So I'm writing 15, 20-minute prompts. I'm sitting there and planning like I will do my own development. This is what I want to do. This is how I will do it.
It'd be quicker to spend 15, 20 minutes writing the code.
Almost. But this is, I'm trying to understand how do you get the most out of it, not just, this is cool, I can do something I couldn't do before.
Yeah. Yeah, so no, I think you're right. I think for those one-off quick and easy type tasks, that's great. But yeah, it's not quite there for the big full apps. Unless you do understand coding and use it as a tool to sort of fast track a few things, especially with, I found like layouts and those kind of things, the overall structure for getting that first, almost framework in place. Brilliant. You type out a rough idea of what you want and it builds out all of that layout and everything ready to go. And then you can go in and code all the functionality and that sort of stuff. So I found that quite useful, but as far as actual launching a go-to-market strategy from one of these apps, I think we're a little while off that.
I think the biggest shift that I've seen with it is seeing it online is one thing. So people saying they're using vibe coding. We've gotten a lot of people that we've spoken to over the past really only 3-4 weeks, which are, I've been building this for 4 months on my own, couple hours a day. If there's a lot of bugs, I need help fixing it.
Yeah.
Or like I've been working in this. Here's a full prototype. All right, what's it going to take to build this actual app now? Like we're getting a lot of people. So there's a lot of startups that are, if you didn't know how to code, that's not a limitation anymore.
Yeah.
You may spend all your time. You don't even have to learn how to code like you used to, like in December.
Yeah.
Really, because like that's when the big shift happened.
Yeah.
But you can test and prototype, or you can try and make something that you think is going to get ready. But then you're 90% there. That last 10% is probably the most important part that you need to get done right.
Exactly.
Whether it's security, it's payments, it's making it stable, it's getting rid of bugs, ensure just get someone like that knows what they're doing, like us, to come in and help you polish that up if you have to. So it's a different model. It's you get it started, we'll finish it for you, rather than build the whole thing or go and do it on your own and try and launch it on your own, because then you don't even know what holes you've opened up.
Yeah. I think from a time-saving metric, that saves a lot of time as well, where previously you guys had to basically have those conversations one-on-one with people to really understand exactly what they wanted, and it takes away a lot of that for them to be able to get to an MVP point, or a concept, or a visual representation that they understand, they can see, they can show you, and then you go, okay, cool, here's where you need to fix it up. And it does speed things up a lot. And definitely. I think, if you use something like your AI, the system that you've built out, the DevReady one, where it sort of basically frames and structures everything that you're trying to build, then use that as a use case to build out your MVP and, to put into some of the prompting and stuff, and then go back to Coda to, back to you guys to get that finalized and finished. I think it's a great way to do that, where you can feel a part of the process and you feel like you're connected into the process. I remember the old iPhone apps, you used to spend 20, 30, 40 grand just hoping and praying that it would come back looking the way that you wanted it to look. And the back and forth, and every time you'd go back and forth, it'd be another $3,000-$4,000 change and all that kind of stuff, where it's taken a lot of that away.
There's a lot of time spent on that end, but then now, it's a lot of times, the time to market's much quicker.
Yeah.
And then, like you mentioned on the DevReady side, it's plan the product, understand what you want to build, have that vision, then use that context. And what we're building now into the product is we're building in an MCP server for DevReady.
Oh, perfect.
So any AI tool can now reference your designs.
Yeah.
It'll actually know what you want to build now, not you trying to prompt it.
Yeah.
So the next version, and we're dog feeding that, we're doing that ourselves internally. We're using it on every project.
Yeah.
And once we think it's good, then that becomes something that everyone can use in their products. And now, before you vibe code, get DevReady.
Yeah,
Same way we
100%.
tell
I
everyone.
like it. It's a good motto. I think that's a big part of the missing piece too, isn't it? It's that full understanding of what it is that you're trying to build and having that to be able to reference back to. I think, you start with that on these things at the prompt level at the start, but then 12, 13, 14 prompts down, it's forgotten what it was doing. And then, whereas if
It
you've
runs
got
out
that
of
context
context.
that it can keep referring back to, I think that's perfect. It'll really help shape and stop that drift from happening as much.
Definitely, that drift is. I'm going to start using that term because
Yeah.
it is what's happening, and then you have to reset it or go back to your first message and paste it in again and go, this is what I'm trying to do, and then reset. But it's an interesting way to frame it. So where are you seeing the next couple of months going with everything that you've got on your plate, and were you trying to get into businesses for process automation or?
Yeah, busy. I think the initial step will be try and build out that community and getting businesses involved. And I think the good thing about having a community will be that I can learn what's needed from them and build out systems and processes and those kind of things to help them. And pretty much every service-based business is running through the same issues at the same time, whether they're doing whatever the service is. They're all going to be facing similar issues and similar challenges with AI. So I think there's a really good use case of having a community structure behind it and building out that, almost a team effort type thing of, hey, I saw this, you should check it out, or this and that, blah, blah, blah. But in a way that actually sort of impacts the business itself as far as revenue, time saved, those kind of things. I think, at the moment we're in this phase where there's that many different tools and you sign up for all these different things and you try them out and you spend hours and hours mucking around with a different tool that you're not actually saving any time and you're just spending more money and, you've got more subscriptions than you do TV subscriptions at the moment. Like,
it's getting ridiculous.
I had a couple come out the other day and I was like, I don't remember signing up for that one. Free trials here and there that expand.
You might have had a API key leaked out in one of your code,
maybe.
code products.
Might have done, but there's so many tools, and I'm sure you're the same where you've just signed up for any new thing that comes out and you see it and you're like, oh, I'll sign up for that and try it out. And you spend an hour on it and then you're like, oh, okay, it doesn't fully do what I exactly thought it would, and you push it to the side and forget to cancel it or whatever. And
I'm at the point where I'm revisiting tools that I signed up to a year ago. Because so much has changed. All right, what's actually good now? Like I tried HeyGen.
Oh yeah.
A year ago, even in 2023, I think it was.
Yeah.
And it made me sound American. Like it didn't have the Aussie accent, or couldn't do anything well back then. So I scrapped it. All right, now I've seen some videos come out. I'm like, all right, time to revisit that. Time to revisit some of the AI, like the image ones or other things. So it's testing them, but then it's remembering that you've got those or what's out there to try and go back to it. That's also a headache.
Yeah, I agree. I think the key for business owners in particular, well, I guess personnel or people as well, but more so for business, is building out that strategy and that framework so that you can plug and play different tools as they fit the requirements, at different times. Like you said, these things are evolving and changing so quickly that you want to be able to swap out some of the tools here and there because there is something better on the market and another product comes out or whatever. You want to quickly be able to change those without fundamentally changing the entire process and retraining staff and all that kind of thing. So it's really about understanding that overall strategy and how these things plug and play into your overall system. And I think building out the stack for AI is almost a full-time job in itself where you're trying to just manage the stack. It's insane. I saw a little GIF image of all these AI boxes all bundled up and stacked in different chaotic orders and that kind of stuff. And it's like an unbalanced Tetris thing waiting to fall over. If you've got your entire business processes relying on those kind of models and those kind of tech stacks, it's a disaster waiting to happen.
Yeah, it's definitely scary. And like you said, strategy is key, understanding how to do it and having the right person, like someone like yourself or like us, that can come in and help you implement that the right way is going to make all the difference, because you can play with these things, like you said, and experiment with them, and you're just going to waste time because it's good to understand how they work, but you don't know how to implement it. The AI still doesn't do everything for you like everyone expects.
I think people expect that they sign up for the $20 a month ChatGPT and step away from the business and let it handle it all.
We're not there yet. At some point we might be, but we're nowhere close to that.
Yeah. No, I think as time goes on, I think the businesses that get it right early and understand it early and put those systems in place and have people that they can speak to and discuss with and get that knowledge from experienced people is going to make all the difference for the ones who just have a crack and play with it. And
completely agree with that. Gavin, it's been a pleasure having you on today. If anyone wants to reach out and find out more about how they can either make some headshots without having a studio or getting some strategy about how to actually implement AI and drive the business direction the right way, how can they do that?
Yeah, any of the socials, just at Gavin Reddrop or gavinreddrop.com.
Awesome. All right. Thanks for being on the episode again. It's a pleasure speaking to you, and we'll definitely have you on again. It's always something to talk about in the AI space.
No, I appreciate it, mate. Yeah, it's always good.
Thanks.
Chat soon.